All right, so we'll go ahead and start off with your opening statements. A reminder that you each have 30 seconds, and we'll go ahead and start with you, Jeannie. Oh, your mic. You press the button and then the light turns green.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the Farm Bureau, the Bonito Link, and the Youth Alliance for hosting this evening. I'm running for Gavilan Board of Trustees because I value education for everyone. I firmly believe that when our residents have access to quality education, the whole community benefits. I want to help make sure that's a reality for Hollister. I'm a high school teacher in my 34th year of teaching. I have extensive experience in education, but I'm looking to retire soon, so I will have the time to devote to Gavilan College and its students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Irma Gonzalez.
Hi, my name is Irma Gonzalez. I'm a lifelong resident of San Benito County. I attended all their public schools. I'm married. I have 4 children and 2 grandchildren. I am a Gavilan College graduate. I have a bachelor's from a CSUMB and a master's from CSUB. And thank you.
Next, we'll move on to Richard Perez.
Thank you for being here, and thank you to the Farm Bureau, Youth Alliance, and Bonito Link. The reason I'm running for Gavilan Board of Trustees is because I'm a glutton for punishment, and it seemed like the right thing to do. But I'm a huge advocate for youth, and allowing them to have quality, affordable education is high on that priority list. So what I hope to accomplish is to be able to have Gavilan be more of a presence here in Hollister and to continue to work with them. Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Alcorn. I'm asking for your support. You know, my kids graduated from San Benito High School and went on to college. I know the financial burdens of higher education, and I've seen a system in stress. But I also know that higher education equals opportunity. I have a master's in business administration and a master's in software engineering, which I use to build my professional career. That is why I support Measure X, to build a local campus in Hollister. I have the local experience and knowledge to get things done. I served on 4 civil grand juries in San Benito County, and I was on the board of directors for Sunny Slope Water.
Oh, your time is up. Thank you. Okay, so our first question, we'll start with Richard Perez. With or without the Measure X school bond, how do you ensure stronger academic classes and access to credit certification programs for students in San Benito County?
With Measure X, I hope to move Hollister and San Benito County up on the priority list. Gavilan right now has us 8th, which is below leaky roofs. So I don't think that's appropriate. I think that we need to be pushed up higher on that priority list. It's imperative that we have a campus here. If Measure X is passed, I want to see that happen first. Without Measure X, I am currently working with the Workforce Development Board to partner with institutions like the Monterey Bay Peninsula Regional Plan so that we can have access if Gavilan doesn't want to facilitate some of the programs that I would like to see implemented. Some of the ag tech programs that are going to be highly sought after are high up on my list, and I hope to be able to offer those classes even if Gavilan does not is not able to facilitate that. I think it's important that we look for partnerships throughout the region and to look for other institutions who would be able to offer that quality education that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Irma?
In January of this year, AB 705 passed. That's the assessment placement, which maximizes the probability of student success. Currently, the high school is working on this. What this will do is prepare students for their life in college. It'll work with them to pass the assessment classes that need to be taken. Some modalities are in audio, so they'll be given the test in written, and they'll be talking to them audio. The guided pathways is also another thing that's also in place, which is the mapping goals, and it'll help students decide on their career goals and help them from point A to point B. We also have the funding guidelines have changed. So instead of getting funded for full-time equivalent students, that what'll happen is it'll be from A to B. If you sign up and you actually get your degree or your certificate, the funding will come that way. So those are ways that are being done right now, and I believe that in following through with it to make sure that the student is successful in getting their degrees or their certificates, whichever they prefer. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder to the candidates, go ahead and turn your mics off when you're done talking. Thank you. Okay, next is Michael.
In preparation for this forum, I asked to sit down with Kathleen Rose, who's the superintendent and president of Gavilan College. And I also talked to current trustees. And I wanted to ask questions about the past and future of Gavilan. One of my primary concerns was the accessibility and access and availability of local class delivery in Hollister. The Briggs building is not sufficient. It only has 5 classrooms, and we need to do something. In fact, last night I went to Bridgemark. They had an event there for Measure X, and they had brought students from Gavilan, and they were talking about how hard it was to get upper division classes in Hollister. So what we need is to have more innovation and have more efficiency, irregardless of Measure X passing or not. For instance, one of the programs they brought up was I was very happy to see was that Gilroy has an early college academy. What that is it allows Gilroy is partnering with Gavilan to let their high school students earn an AS or AA degree while they're going to high school. They graduate high school with, in many instances, an AS or AA degree free of charge. Also, I saw on Bonito Link that there's a College Promise Grant Program that's letting 300 students get grants to go to their first year of college at Gavilan. These are the type of innovations and efficiencies we have to have. We have to be more creative and better utilize our resources. Thank you.
And Jeannie.
Thank you. I have, like Michael, also been meeting with Dr. Rose and with some other trustees and with students who attend the Gavilan campus here and student leaders in Gilroy. And I kind of interpreted this question a little bit differently. With or without Measure X, I see it as, you know, we can't just decide, well, if Measure X doesn't pass, we can't have quality education here or access to what the students need. And what can we do regardless, either way? So in my view, we need to be positive and look for solutions, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in and the students find themselves in. I do think that the Guided Pathways program, which is new to the whole campus, is going to be a real game changer for Gavilan students, whether they're in Gilroy, on the Gilroy campus, or they're here in Hollister. This program is helping students to identify what their education goals are and what courses they need to take to achieve those goals in the most direct path possible and help them monitor their progress. But it also requires the college to offer the courses that students need so that they can move through the community college in a timely manner and move on to whatever their goals are after Gavilan. They shouldn't have to be waiting around 3, 4, 5 years to get the courses they need just so that they can move on. So I think the Guided Pathways program, which is under adoption, is going to be a huge game changer for students, and as a board member, I would certainly support its rapid and thorough implementation. I also think that we need to use the facilities that we have here, because even if Measure X passes, which I certainly hope it does, it's going to be a few years, at least a couple of years, before we have classes at a new facility, and so we need to...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so question 2, we're going to start off with Michael. There's a significant public perception in San Benito County that Gavilan College did not keep its promises to build a campus with the last bond that passed. If elected, how do you plan to restore public confidence in Gavilan, and do you believe with the passage of Measure X that we will have a campus in the next 5 years?
To answer the last question, I do. And what I've done is I have, like I said before, I went out and actually talked to Kathleen Rose, and I've talked to trustees, and I've talked to the community. And they have committed, if I looked at the budgets as going forward in case Measure X passes, in the first year, 2019, 2020, their number one priority and their commitment in the budget is to spend $5,810,000 to get the project started at the Four Corners. In 2019, 2020, they are committing $46,081,000 for the first phase of the campus. They can move forward now because of the environmental impact has been remedied, and they can start construction there. I've talked to the students on campus have raised $65,000 in support of Measure X. This is a firm commitment. And if I'm elected, I will have the accountability and the oversight to make sure that this moves forward. You know, progress equals vision, common sense, and hard work. And I promise to do my all to do that.
Thank you. Next is Jeannie.
Thank you. When I met with Dr. Rose, she assured me that, well, two things. First of all, it's been 10 years waiting to break ground out there, but when Measure X, when the prior bond was passed, that was to buy the land, which Gavilan did do, and we have been 10 years waiting for approval from the state. What happens is you apply to build a campus like this, and you have to get in line behind everybody else who's also applied to build something and wait for clearance. And there were some complications with the environmental impact report. There was a species that had to be relocated. There's been a lot of just waiting for the state to authorize, but there is clearance now. And if Measure X passes, there is a commitment to break ground, and Gavilan College is actually building the new Gavilan College in Hollister is actually #1 on the college's building priority list. So yes, I'm confident that if the bond passes, we will have a campus, I believe, in less than 5 years. But in the meantime, of course, we need to deal with the resources that we have. What would I do to restore public confidence? I would try to be visible. When I was working in the teachers union in Morgan Hill, along with teaching, I wrote a column for the Morgan Hill Times to kind of keep the public apprised of what was going on. And I would try to be a presence in the community and help people be informed of our progress and meet with students and visit the high schools, the college sites here, including at the high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Richard Perez.
The problem is that promises were broken. I think that we all know what happened in 2004, and it's left a bitter taste in everyone's mouth. So with Gavilan, I would like to see it in writing. I would like to see something that shows the public that they are vested in education here. Rhetoric does very little to, dissuade people from what's already happened in the past. So in order for us to build that trust, they need to reinvest in our community and stop taking the classes and moving them elsewhere. Coyote Valley was a mistake. I think it stretched out too far. Now they have 3 campuses that they need to maintain and keep up to speed. So in order for Gavilan to really be a part of this community, I think when it does come before the voters, that they have to have something that says, you know what, this is priority #1. And I think it would make people understand, at least if their money is being spent, that it's going towards the people in their community and not elsewhere. So transparency, accountability, those are 2 of the main priorities that I think we need to push on the administration. So I think it's important, if elected, I do plan to have these meetings frequently with the constituents in my district to make sure that they're feeling as though they're a part of the equation and not just being left out. It's very important.
Thank you. Irma?
I do believe that the college will be built within 5 years. It is #1 on the budget. It is on the facilities master plan, and it is also on the educational master plan. One of the problems was the California tiger salamander that showed up and getting the environmental impact reports. That was settled in August 2nd of this year. So if Measure X passes, we're assured that we are going to get a campus. And how do I know that? Because one of us, we got two of us that are going to be on that board, and we're going to advocate for San Benito County. That's one of the most important things that I see that needs to be done. Now, also, there's a Citizens Oversight Committee that will be set up. There was one set up before. This time, what I'm proposing is that citizens from here, San Benito County, are part of the Oversight Committee. I don't believe there were that many involved in the past. When we have community involvement and transparency on the part of the board members, which I do promise that I will do, they're most likely that we will get what we want done. Being vocal, standing by our word, that's one of the things that everybody that knows me knows I'm very vocal, and I do stand by my word. When I say something, I mean it. It's something that I believe is very important to us, education here at home that's affordable, that's quality education, that'll keep our students from having to be on that road, traveling 25 and back, and also for parents that work, single mothers that work in the day and can go at night. Something that's very important. And again, as I say, honesty and keeping the public informed. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move into our closing statements. A reminder that you each have 90 seconds, and we'll start off with Jeannie.
Thank you. So my husband and I bought our home here in Hollister 24 years ago in 1994. We raised our two kids here. We are a family that values education. My husband is also a teacher with over 30 years in the classroom. Our daughter is now a senior at UCLA. Our son is a high school senior looking ahead to college. In my 34 years as a teacher, I have taught math and social studies at the middle school level and the high school level. I was a student activities director for 5 years. I worked as office representative in the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers union office for 15 years. In that capacity, I mostly helped resolve conflicts and solve problems and defend positive classroom environments, skills that I find I'm called upon to use even now that I've been out of the union office. I understand education budgets and labor contracts. I also have graduate coursework in education administration, but I have no interest in being an administrator. I understand education leadership and legal issues, though, but mostly I understand students and how they learn. I tell my own students that democracy is not a spectator sport, that we all have a responsibility to participate. Education is my passion and my expertise. Recently, I've had the honor of meeting some of Gavilan's student leaders, and I so look forward to working with them. If I'm elected, I'd be honored to have your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Michael?
As I stated before, education for me is opportunity, but it's also an investment. I'm going to go off the script a little bit here and just talk without my notes a little bit. I went to Washington State University. I got a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, an MBA, and I got a Master's in Software Engineering at San Jose State University. I'm only saying that because I really value education. I also taught at Washington State University. I taught linear regression analysis and computer science labs. My son went to Berkeley. My daughter's currently in Chico. I know how hard it is. I know that when kids go to college, they are asked to pick their major right away. I know a lot of kids aren't ready for college. They have to do ALM and ELF tests to get college proficiency. What I'm trying to say here is Gavilan is very, very important. It's not just an extended high school. It's a valuable asset for our community, and I believe in it. If I'm elected, I hope I can make it go forward and give the accountability we've talked about here and the oversight with your trust. I'm asking for your vote, and I think that together we can bring something great for our community. I'll just keep it short with that. I just ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Irma?
I believe in a high-quality, affordable, local education. I'm a graduate of Gavilan College, as is my husband, and as are two of my children. My brother-in-law, Raul, was one of the first ASB presidents when the college was located here in Hollister. Back in, it started in 1919, and in 1968, it moved over to Gavilan College, where it is now in Gilroy. My brother-in-law, Fernando, was ASB president. My roots are deep when it comes to Gavilan College. I know the importance of having the high-quality education. with an education is the key to get out of poverty. Right now, 26.2% of our residents do not have a high school education, and 25.4% have less than a high school education. Only 8% have an AA degree, and 12.8% have a bachelor's degree. 3.3% have a graduate degree. Lifting yourself out of poverty with an education is one of the goals that I think everyone should be able to afford and have, and having a local college here is something that is of utmost importance to me. If you vote for me, and I ask that you do, that is one of my priorities to make that happen. In 2012, $46.4 billion were saved from the U.S. government from getting people off the welfare rolls due to community colleges and an A degree. When you work with a community college, their success is the community's success. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Perez?
Education is the catalyst that can remove poverty. We all know that. And I think it's important that we keep focus on what Gavilan can do for our children. The most important thing for me right now is to see my grandchildren and your children get the quality education that they deserve. So it's important that we have people who are going to advocate for our community and for our school system, and Gavilan is a part of that. So I have been heavily vested in this community through the Community Action Board. I'm the chairman there. I'm the vice chairman of the Workforce Development Board, and I also want to see a new library resource center being built here. But all of that comes with a partnership with a community college. If we do not have a partnership with Gavilan, then we will have to seek other resolutions to find those solutions. I think it's important that everybody stay engaged. I know that this last bond measure is not going to be something that everybody wants to see, but if it does go through, we have to hold them accountable. We have to hold them to be transparent and to allow us to know what their next step is. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that Gavilan made, was that they didn't inform the public as to what they were doing, and so we were taken by surprise when Coyote Valley was built. The last thing I want to say is there's a quote: "We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about the progress and prosperity of our community." That was Cesar Chavez, and I am an advocate for all of those. Thank you.
Thank you.